Good morning and welcome to today's online service. It's great to have you here, and I hope that you'll use this opportunity to connect with God and also to connect with Riverside Church. Before I hand over to the team to lead us in worship, I've been thinking a lot obviously about lockdown, and now that we're beginning to come out of it and we've got a roadmap ahead of us of how that's going to look and what dates, it got me kind of thinking and smiling to myself about some of the absurdities of the things that we've gone through. And I'm particularly looking at things that we were in short supply of. And I think in maybe 5-10 years' time, we'll all be saying, oh, do you remember a time when we couldn't get this? And I've come up with a little list. So the first one was toilet rolls. Do you remember? There were even newspaper reports and photos of people and films of people fighting in supermarkets over the last roll of toilet roll, and how hard that was, and how everybody kind of stored up 6 months' supply of toilet roll. We've still got some from that time. Secondly, flour. It was so hard to get flour. And one of the great things about that is we've all suddenly become bakers. So some great pictures out there. And obviously pasta was another one. You were lucky if you could get bog standard pasta, but forget anything of any kind of particular make or anything. So pasta. And then I remember paracetamols being like gold dust. You couldn't get them. Supermarkets, where you used to be able to get a packet for 20 pence, they kind of disappeared. I remember going into Booker's and they'd hidden them away in Booker's on the back shelf, and you had to actually go and get somebody to give you them, and you were limited. And this is a cash and carry. So paracetamols were rationed. Hand sanitizer. Do you remember how it was probably cheaper at one point to use gin on your hands than it was to buy, if you could buy, hand sanitizer? And then bleach. Well, that's all down to Trump, isn't it? And what he suggested we do with bleach. And then the other spin-off, which is still today actually, Xboxes and PS5s are like gold dust. They're fetching nearly double their normal price on the black market. And it's probably still easier to get a COVID jab than it is to get a PS5 at the moment. And I know, I've been trying. And homes in the countryside, everybody wanted to move all of a sudden because they were all fed up of the houses that they were living in, and they decided that they wanted outside space. And that is still being seen today. And then wood and furniture and IKEA running out of certain things. And lastly, I put here dogs. Kidnapping is still prevalent today, and there are some silly prices out there. So as I said, I think in years to come, we'll look back and think, what a stupid time. Do you remember when we did that? Now, the whole reason for this, and you think I've probably gone off on a tangent here, but it got me thinking about God's love and how things around us kind of run out. And there are, everybody wants to get the certain thing, and once that happens, nobody can get anything. But God's love never does run out. I was looking at Psalm 107, and it's 43 verses long, and it's quite long. But it talks about his love never ending and never running out for you and I. So regardless of what goes on around us, God's love is always available and always there. And I'm just going to read you a few verses of it, but I would encourage you to get Psalm 107 and take a look, because it's a real encouragement, particularly if you're going through trying times. And it says, I'm reading from the Message, but to be honest, any version of it is really good, but I'll read it from the Message. Oh, thank God he is good. His love never runs out. All of you set free by God, tell the world. Tell how he freed you from oppression, then rounded you up all over the place, from the four winds and from the seven seas. Some of you wandered for years in the desert, looking but not finding a good place to live, half-starved and parched with thirst, staggering and stumbling on the brink of exhaustion. Then, in your desperate condition, you called out for God. He got to you in the nick of time. He put your feet on a wonderful road. Then he took you straight to a good place to live. So thank God for his marvellous love. for his miracle mercy to the children that he loves. He poured great draughts of water down parched throats, and the starved and hungry got plenty to eat. And it goes on. As I say, that's the Message version. Read it, but it talks about God's love finding us and changing our lives. And it implores us to go out and to tell others. So, if you're hungry and thirsty out there, God looks for a desperate heart and he responds. If you can sing from the mountaintops and you're so full of beans and positivity, speak it out. Speak it out to others so that we can all be encouraged. Share whether you're let down or whether you're high, because we're in this together. And the great thing is not only are we connected to each other, we have a loving Father who knows what we're going through and whose love never runs out for us. I'll see you at the end. God bless.